Try it again. Good afternoon. My name is Tom Rome. I'm Chairman of the Finance and Property Committee. We are meeting in the council chambers at City Hall on Tuesday, June 1st, 2021 at 4:35. 5 minutes late. We are on Zoom. There's a phone number for calling, 1-312-266-6799, meeting ID 817-1475-4871, and the pound sign. With that, I'll call the meeting to order. We'll just go around the front here for people to introduce themselves to the viewing public.
Ryan Austin, Alderman.
Jennifer Gossick, City Clerk.
Sue Schill, City Attorney.
Jay Catnow, committee member.
Jay Bamke, committee member.
Shane Blazer, Mayor.
Tim Sorcy, Finance Director.
Thank you. With that, item number 2 is the update from the Wisconsin Rapids Area Convention and Visitor Bureau. We had a email early this afternoon or late this morning. I'm not sure what it was, but they are unable to be here today and request possibly to do it at the July meeting. So with that, we can go on to item number 3. Consider for approval a taxi cab license renewal application from Randy Whitehouse for Gotta Go Taxi LLC.
This is a renewal for 1 year, and everything is in order. There's just one thing that needs to be fixed on his insurance. Other than that, we're good. He just needs to add the vehicle on there. So. Oh, yeah. No, it'll probably be this week. Yeah. Yeah, we'll take care of that this week.
Is there any questions by anybody or anything? Otherwise, I'll move for adoption of motion to approve the taxi cab license renewal for Gotta Go Taxi LLC. Committee, any further discussion? You have a motion and a second to approve the license for Gotta Go Taxi renewal. All those in favor respond by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Number 4, consider for approval a taxi, consider, looking at two things here. Consider a temporary Class B beer and Class B wine license for Assumption Athletic Association for the premises located at 445 Chestnut Street for an Assumption Golf Scramble event held on July 16th, 2021. And everything is in order that we have. This is what they've done in the past, except, well, last year, I think. Probably was
That's
also-
correct. Yep, this is what they've done in the past. This is under the Athletic Association, which is part of Assumption Catholic Schools.
Yeah.
It's normally requested by Assumption Catholic Schools. This is just through the athletic organization, or association, excuse me.
Any questions or anything by anybody? Hearing none, with that, I'll move for adoption for temporary Class B beer and Class B beer wine license for Assumption Athletic Association for the premises located at 445 Chestnut Street for Assumption Golf Scramble, July 16th.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Committee, if there's no further questions, we can vote. All those in favor respond by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Consider requests from CC Sexbauer LLC, DBA Whiskey Rapids Saloon, call Cali Sailor Sexbauer agent for Class B beer license and Class B liquor license premises extension to include the entire second floor and within the fenced-in outdoor area for the premises located at 150 2nd Street North. Any, Jake?
Yeah, is the area fenced in yet?
What's that?
The fenced-in area, we had talked a while back and seen some drops of what the fencing might look like before we approve this, I'm just wondering if it's, the fencing's up yet that we're approving the premises extension.
No, actually, they have not purchased the property yet. They wanted to make sure that their premises would be extended to that area. And the license would obviously require, first off, that they own the property, and then secondly, that they do the, and included in the offer to purchase or the real estate sales agreement was that they needed to build it consistent with the plans that were provided. So obviously, you know, so all those things need to happen before the license would be granted, but
And we don't need to mention that in a motion, it's just automatically implied, or should it be mentioned?
well, you could, I guess one of the things that you could talk about would be like the hours of operation or hours of sound amplification or anything else that you'd be concerned about in that area. So you can put conditions on the license premises expansion. But yeah, we wouldn't grant the license unless they were in control of the premises. And then, as I said, the offer to purchase contains all those other conditions regarding what it specifically looks like. I guess you could add in that the expansion and the improvements on the expansion are consistent with what's contained in the real estate sales agreement.
Okay, because my main concern would just be that we approve this and then there's no fence up right now. They end up throwing up a dinky fence and then it
Right.
qualifies for within the fence.
Right. If they don't do that, then we would get the property back if they don't do it consistent with what's in
Okay.
there.
Sounds good. I'll make a motion to approve the license premise extension and any noise amplification that would go with a area like that, such as bands or music, in accordance with the real estate agreement.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion is second to approve the request. Any further discussion or questions, committee or
I have a-
anybody? Oops, Sue?
Yeah, so did you want to, I know the request is to have, that there might be music out there until bar time, and I guess my question would be, did you want to limit that in any way, to have that be, to cease earlier, or even cease the activity outdoors earlier? Just, you don't need to, but that's just a consideration.
No,
Okay.
the other establishments downtown that have fenced-in areas have bands and music outside during those hours as well. So as long as it's within the bar time hours, I don't see a problem with it.
Any other questions or anything? Hearing none, committee will vote. All those in favor respond by aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the ayes have it. Item number 6, consider request from Johnny's LLC DBA, Johnny's Bar, Josh Vetrone, agent to temporarily extend the alcohol license premises for the premises located at 2610 8th Street South to include an area as shown on the attached map on Friday, July 16th and Saturday, July 17th, 2021 from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. and for noise variance for a DJ until midnight on both nights. Any comments or questions by anybody? Yeah, it's the same thing that's been done every year, so. Hearing none, I'll,
One question, quick.
oh,
It's they've done this in previous years, just confirming that they'll be providing their own security? Okay, thank you.
I'll move for the adoption to temporarily, consider request from Johnny's to temporarily extend the alcohol license premises for the premises located at 2610 8th Street South to include an outdoor area as shown on the attached map on Friday, July 16th and Saturday, July 17th, 2021 from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. and for noise variance for a DJ until midnight on both nights. Move for that. We have a motion and a second to approve. If There's no further questions, committee, we can vote. All those in favor respond by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, ayes have it. Item 7, consider approval of the 2021-2022 Class A liquor, Class A beer, Class B liquor, Class B beer, and Class C wine alcohol licenses. Consider sending notices of non-renewal or denial for those licensees who are not qualified to hold a license because of delinquencies or other disqualifications. And we do have 3, I believe, that delinquent and 7 with some fire department, I guess, issues to correct. They have until the end of June, so I guess the recommendation, if we would approve these, contingent upon that everything be taken care of by the end of the month, then it'd be okay.
And would you also like to approve sending notices of non-renewal or denial of those licenses if they don't take care of those two things?
Correct.
Okay.
I'll move to do so, send notices and that, and that they have until the end of the month to that, so.
I'll second.
Motion is second to approve. If there's no further discussion or questions by the committee, we can vote. All those in favor respond by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, ayes have it. Number 8, consider the following streets and suspending the open container ordinance for these streets and adjoining sidewalks for the city's 2021 4th of July event from 3 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, July 4th, 2021, or the July 4th fireworks rain date. 2nd Street from East Jackson Street to Mead Street, Mead, Locust, Witter, Pine, Walnut, Maple, and Birch Streets from 2nd Street South to 3rd Street South. Oak Street from 2nd Street North to 3rd Street North. 1st Street North from East Jackson Street to 2nd Street North. Grand Avenue from 3rd Street to 3rd Avenue. 1st Avenue South from West Grand Avenue to Chase Street. Johnson and Goggins Streets from 1st Avenue South to 3rd Avenue South. 2nd Avenue South from West Grand Avenue to Johnson Street. Any questions or anything by anybody? Jake?
These are the same boundaries that we've had in previous years, correct? No changes? Okay. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion is second to approve the request for the closure and that for the July 4th activities. There's no further questions by the committee. We can vote. All those in favor respond by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, ayes have it. Yeah. Item 9, consider the selection of a contractor for Phase 1 fabrication and install of wayfinding signage. Kyle, would you like to get us started here?
Thank you very much. So the item before you tonight is the selection of a contractor for the Phase 1 wayfinding project. Corbin Design was selected a little over a year ago to do the wayfinding design, and we asked them to split up the overall project into different phases. And Phase 1 consists of approximately 20 to 24 signs, and they're the major pedestrian kiosks, trailhead kiosks, many of them in the downtown area. We received 3 proposals after releasing the RFP, and those proposals came from Stratford Sign, Poblacki Sign, and Graphic House Sign. And we provided a memo as part of the packet summarizing the internal review and our recommendation to Graphic House. We as staff felt that they had the strongest proposal. They're right in the middle from a cost standpoint, about $5,000 more than Stratford Sign. And I think they've got a proven track record of a good product for a fair price, and hence we would recommend Graphic House. I do also want to note, which I noted at the bottom of the memo, that for this project in particular, we received a $15,000 grant from the county, and that will be applied, or it's reimbursed after we spend the funds. So once we've got a contractor on board and start extinguishing funds, we can then request that reimbursement. And I believe we budgeted $62,563 within the budget for 2021 for this Phase 1 project. And it's important to note that when you add the $15,000, the total budget's $77,563. Graphic House comes in a little bit above that at $81,499, which is about $4,000 over the budgeted amount. But again, I feel as though they did have the strongest proposal and would recommend the award to Graphic House. And you can correct me, Tim, if I'm wrong, but I believe that was the amount coming out of the room tax dollars, the Economic Development Fund for the room tax dollars for this project. That's all I have. Be happy to answer any questions.
Would the extra Tim, or Kyle, would the extra 4,000 come out of the room tax then, or,
Yeah, correct.
is that what I meant? Okay. Mayor?
Kyle, just so I'm reading this right, so Graphic House, it's 81.5 for sign and installation, and Stratford sign is 75,000 plus installation on top of that?
I would have to double check. It's my understanding that that's the total cost for everything for Stratford.
Because it has 75,000 plus install, and the other two do not. I guess my point is Stratford may not be the cheapest if it doesn't include install.
Yeah, I'm looking at the quote here, and I don't see anything to that effect. What are you referencing? Are you referencing
It's
the memo?
Madeline's memo.
On the memo, right after their amount.
That may be an error. I'm not seeing installation of the above. So they've got a separate line item for installation in their quote of $12,200. I can try to do the quick math here. 20.
So their quote's probably up over 87,000.
Yeah. It does look like it's coming over the amount. So it might not have been included.
Okay, I just wanted to make the committee aware.
Thank you. Yep. Further
can get it.
questions, comments?
I was going to say, I can get a total in a second here,
Oh,
if you want it for the record. If cost is coming into play.
I just wanted to make sure that the committee, so it doesn't have an appearance that they're passing over a lower bid when technically it may be higher.
Yeah, if the total's not necessarily necessary, I'll stop adding in my head here, but it does look like it's gonna come above the 75,000.
Committee, any comments or questions or anything? Hearing none, along with the recommendation from staff and that graphic house was chosen, and I'd move that we choose graphic house for the project.
Second.
Motion and second. Approve graphic house, I guess, Kyle, just one question, I guess, what could we look at of a timetable? I know you and me have talking about this, you had mentioned, get this done before the end of the year and that, and,
That is the hope. I think if we get Graphic House under contract this month, I think we could get the signs installed by the end of the year. They did have the longest timeline, so 8 months for fabrication and install, but that would hopefully take us to October, November. And if the weather's okay, I'm hopeful to get them in, but I will certainly try to pressure them to get them in this year, because it would be great to have them in so they can be enjoyed, and perhaps we can also then budget for Phase 2 either next year or the following year.
Okay. Thank you. Got a motion and a second to approve the selection of graphic house for the wayfinding signs. Hearing no more comments or questions from the committee, all in favor respond by aye. Aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you, Kyle. Number 10, review and consider for approval an updated cost estimate for the Fire Station Number 1 renovation. Scott, you have something for us here?
had approved back in last August. I'm not qualified to talk about the architectural design or the electronic systems, HVAC or plumbing that came in that report, but I can touch on some of the key drivers for the cost of this. If you remember back in August, we talked about the station renovation and doing it right. We didn't want to do a Band-Aid and spend 1.8 million and coming back in 10 years and asking for more money or new additions or new renovations. So we were given the direction to do it right. We don't want a Band-Aid. So we looked at it, we went with option D, with the alternative on it, with the apparatus bays. And some of the drivers in what we're gonna be asking for here is we do have more square footage than the original concept. The square footage was necessary to make this station last. It's designed to last 30 to 40 years when we're done with completion. The apparatus bays, due to the restrictions of the easement off of the expressway, had to be put onto the back of the station. That apparatus bay has changed now where it's going to be an ambulance apparatus bay, and it's going to house our 3 ambulances. I believe it actually is going to work better than the alternative off the expressway. We will house our 3 ambulances in there. We'll be able to house an engine, our ladder truck, and our squad and our hazmat trailer in a boat in the old bays. So this station is going to be designed, or it is designed, to be the main fire station. It's going to meet our needs for many, many years, for decades. But along with these changes came some added square footage, and that obviously drove up the cost. Also, another factor in the cost is the cost of lumber and construction. Lumber prices are up 300 to 350% since last April when the original concept was done, and that obviously is nothing we can control. In there also, when we did our generator, the generator is only 2 years old. That generator is tremendously undersized. It's 25 kilowatts. Five Bugles Design will not build a new station or design a new station with a generator less than 100 kilowatts. So there's an added 40,000. Our alerting system is not as easy to tie into the new additions, and the app room is what we had planned on. We thought it would be a smooth transition, and that's an additional cost of about 25,000. All of this adds up to a little more cost estimate. So when we were done with the 30% design, it was sent to the construction manager. They did their cost estimate. We've gone from 2,340,000 approximately to the cost estimate of Station 1 of about $2.7 million. So I guess what we are requesting is consideration to be able to move with this project is to fund the $2.7 million. In the memo I sent out with the 30% report and the design, that does not include, back in August, we approved to do the dorms, the bathrooms and the upstairs dorms at Station 2 at a cost of $137,840. The $2.7 million does not include that. But in my memo I sent, I believe that project can be put off because we are really looking at Station 1 being the main station and housing the majority of our personnel, the majority of our equipment. I believe that bathroom up there is functional and will work for our gender equity concerns that we have over there, being that the majority of our staff will be at Station 1. So I'm proposing that we roll that $137,000 to offset the cost of $496,000 extra on Station 1 and bringing the overall cost down to about $362,000 we'd be requesting. You know, the renovation, when it's done, the design is what we want, it's what we need. It addresses all of our gender equity issues at Station 1. It adds the element of safety with the decon areas in there where we can come off of a fire and go into a decon room and do our gross decon. We've got our washers, our extractors in the decon area. We've got our gear dryers on there. And from there, it flows nicely into decon showers where our members are not contaminating our living areas, our sleeping quarters, our eating areas. It adds a training room for 18, it'll accommodate 18 people. The 3 showers, it adds 7 dorms for firefighters and a battalion chief office that would include a dorm, so we'll be able to house 8 people over there. And then we have all of our staff administration would be at Station 1. It adds 2 more offices into that when the renovation is done. So this station is designed to last 30 to 40 years. I'm confident it would do it. Can't say for sure, but I'm also confident moving on to the next phase of the design, development design, a little more in depth than the architect, that $2.7 million can be held. I think there was a lot of research done into that bid, and in there is also contingency money of $200,000 to cover any unhidden or unforeseen cost. Hopefully we don't need that and that can be returned, but that is in there just in case. I also have Laura, I'll butcher her last name, Igasol from Five Bugles Design, I know is on Zoom, and David Keaton from Myron, who has more information if there's more questions.
Questions by anybody? Jake?
First of all, when you're doing this project, do you have a plan in place to where you're going to house everybody, where the equipment's going? Are you going to be able to stay there and operate like you are currently operating?
Some. I think Station 2 will, it's not going to be ideal no matter how we do it. There will be discussion on temporary housing units. I believe we will run more people out of Station 2. We did it with COVID. It is set up where we can have 5 people at Station 2, and we're going to be able, it will work. This isn't a new concept to the fire service to do a remodel like this.
So you mentioned temporary housing. Is this going to be an additional cost on top of, or you don't know yet?
I wouldn't know that. At the 30%, I'm not sure.
Thanks. I have one more question. You said in your summary here, you said you cut $70,000 out of the project. What were the things that were cut out for the $70,000 savings?
We thought Marshfield has the Phoenix G2 paging system, and their station is 10 years old, and they were having issues with their alerting paging system. They were not able to work with Phoenix to get that resolved. They had to go with a whole new paging system. So our FFE, or soft cost, we did not do a maintenance contract, and we did our paging system, which isn't that old with them. We didn't think we were going to be able to get it serviced or added onto, and one way or the other, we're going to add onto it, so we cut nearly 50,000 out of the alerting system. And we cut, I'm not quite sure where the other money came from. It came from refrigerators. It came from a security system that originally was in there for, I believe, 10,000, but we did come up with 70,000. But that original cost estimate, we put everything in there that we thought we may need. And so on May 17th, we had a meeting, and like, we're over here, where can we cut costs? So Myron came back, and they did look at some areas where they could cut. But in the end, they weren't able to cut. They looked at studs and framing. They looked at metal studs instead of wood. Actually, that drove up the cost of the project. They looked at asphalt, holding off on asphalting and paving the driveway, and we've kept that in there. If we can do it later with the city crew, with the contract, we'd come back and we could be able to cut that, but that was in there. They cut drainage out of the apparatus room, the floors, the drains in there. They went with a single horizontal cut versus 3 vertical cuts, and that only saved 8,000. And then we're worried about water pooling in our app floor, and so to save 10, 15,000 on a $2.7 million project, we kept that in there. The 70,000 was on our end, mainly on the alerting system, security systems, some refrigerators. It just appliances we cut back on.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Jake?
Yeah, I guess this question is more for Tim. So if we go over and approve going further with this for the extra 496,000, are we putting off any projects? Would we have to take away from anything? The money's coming from the capital improvement budget, but I'm just wondering what we would have to knock off down the road, or if anything.
No, the entire project will be funded with the next, we'll be going over in the next agenda item. We'll be issuing GO debt to cover the total cost of the renovation. So it's not like taking funding from other projects or whatever, since it's the sole funding source for it is GO debt.
I guess also it'd be helpful to have some direction from this committee or council. Do we want to continue on with Station 2 and the dorms up there? Or do we want to take that 137,000 and apply it to the cost estimate of this and leave that till later? That would put us at about 358,000 over what was approved last September.
If I may.
Jake?
Yeah, that was going to be another one of my questions is definitely consider putting that off. And what do other municipalities do in terms of a satellite station? You said there's 3 people there, so I understand the need for it, but is this the funding that we are going to put there, or is proposed to put there, cut? Is that necessary right now, or is that something that could be put off? Could you talk to that a little bit?
I believe it could be put off with what we're housing there. There's also, when they did they came to the stations, they were looking for lead paint, asbestos. That station does have asbestos. That area does have asbestos, so there'd have to be some asbestos abatement done prior to construction. My recommendation is to holding off on it. And, you know, look, that station is big enough, it's large enough, it holds enough for all of our members and what we need out of it. So at this point, wouldn't stick that money in there, I guess, and I would roll that money, would be my recommendation, into Station 1 and doing Station 1 right and making our main station last for the 30 to 40 years and trying to nickel and dime and cut back and scale back.
I guess my last question would be, it notes that there's an increase in cost, which include higher lumber and material costs. As we all know, this is one of the most expensive times for building and construction, especially lumber. It's all over the news and social media. Has it been, what is the total cost you would say? Let's say lumber prices drop back to what they were last year and the next year. Nobody knows if that's going to happen, obviously, but if it was, do we know what the cost would be? Or would it be what was projected before? Or?
I don't think it would be that much. I believe Five Bugles is going to come up with a detailed summary on the drivers of the costs. I think they'll can give you a ballpark figure of what the lumber and the construction materials. I think it's more than just lumber. I think all the construction materials have gone up, and I think they're going to be able to give us a summary on the drivers and what that cost would have been, last year when we first came forward to what it is now. But this is something that's needed for the fire department, for the men and women of our department. Personally, I think we need to move on with it. It's not something I would have liked to have come here and asked for more money. But holding off, we're going to push it into the fall. And if we're going to continue to build and do the construction in the fall, I think there's going to be added cost of trying to pour. And I'm not a construction, but there's going to be added cost if we get too far into the fall and stop the process of the design. You may end up even holding off construction until the spring of 2022, and who knows what that would do to the cost. So I'm fairly confident in what we're asking for now is going to be enough. We're not going to come back and have to ask for more money. But if we put it off and the design process stops, I guess there's no guarantees. So.
Thank you. Yeah, that answers my question. I just, for information, wanted to know if that was, or what that would look like. But it sounds like Five Bugles will address that. And are they on? Can they speak to that right now?
Can you hear me? So hi, my name's Laura. I'm with Five Bugles Design out of Eau Claire, Wisconsin. So Chief Young is correct. We will be putting together like a summary, just kind of going over all of the different things that have influenced the increase of scope in this project. So like you said, the square foot did increase, and that was obviously a driving factor, but then he's absolutely correct that the prices for everything, not just wood, prices for steel, prices for basically everything have gone up astronomically. David from Myran is on the call too, and I believe that he'd be able to speak more specifically to that. But if I recall correctly, I heard a number that was like 200% increase in sheathing, and like Chief said, over 300% increase in wood. Not that there's a lot of wood in this project, but we were using wood trusses, so there is some. I don't know that it would go down if we were to wait another year. It's always we don't have a crystal ball to look that far ahead. I don't know, David, if you have any questions or comments on that.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to see if we had something on that, but it sounds like that'll be coming. Do we know when that'll be available? I'm just, if we move forward with this and it came up again at the Common Council meeting, I just want to make sure that we had that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get it to you guys by the end of the week.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I think this definitely needs to move forward past committee level to get the rest of the council's input and vote on this. And it is something, as Chief said, that we do need to move forward with, as we've learned with previous projects. Once you get down the road with the design phase, and there is unexpected cost, but sometimes you got to keep it moving. So I'll make a motion. Do we need a motion, or is this just? Okay, hang on. I will make a motion that we approve the updated cost estimate for the fire number 1 renovation, with included in that not doing the construction at the fire station number 2 that was proposed previously.
And that's approximately 130-some thousand, correct, Scott? I think you said
137,
130.
840.
Tom, can I
Jake?
make a comment, or?
Yep, go ahead.
I guess, Chief, I'm concerned, obviously, over the $500,000, but what seemed to drive this was COVID and gender. And now it seems like we're taking $140,000 worth of COVID and gender issues out of the West Side Station. I guess my question is when are you going to come back and for the 140,000? I know you can't predict how much, but is that going to be on the radar again soon?
Station 1 is designed right now, I believe that it's going to be no time soon, because after a fire, all of our equipment, all of our supplies to restock the fire engine, the hose, and all the equipment is done at Station 1. Our deconning will be done at Station 1. There'll be decon showers, 3 of them at Station 1. Before they go back to Station 2, they should already be done and ready to return to duty. So I do not foresee us coming back in a year or two and asking for Station number 2 to be done. Right now, we did put up there's a door. Our females can go in there, and they are isolated from the men, but that bathroom upstairs is like a high school locker room style bathroom. It's not ideal, but I don't think it's necessary. I think that money, that $137,000, is better spent to do Station 1 right, and let's get this done and go from there.
I have to be honest, Chief, I'm not excited about this. It's a $500,000 that I don't think we have to start with, and we're cutting part of a project out that seemed to be necessary when we started this project, so.
And I would agree with that, but with this design and the equipment and the apparatus we're going to house at Station 1, our staffing levels are going to change. They have to change. Our staffing at Station 2 should be at 3. And we used to staff 4 over there. In COVID, we were staffing 4 and 5 over there consistently, and that's going to drop to 3. So I think that bathroom up there can function.
What else was in that? It was the bathroom, the sleeping arrangements, and wasn't there something else over there?
No, we did not go with the alternative. It was downstairs, the locker rooms, and they were going to put in an extractor and I believe some deconning stuff at Station number 2. We didn't do that. We were just looking at the bathrooms up there and separating that dorm-style bathroom and making it into 2 separate bathrooms where you could house 2 people at once up there. I think with Station 1 and what the equipment and apparatus that we're going to be staffing, we're going to have the majority of our resources at Station 1 and operate that as a satellite station.
Jake?
Just one more thing in regards to Station 2. Would it be possible, if need be in the future, that you would be able to staff in shifts 3 men or 3 women during a particular shift so that there's, at Station 2 specifically, because of the bathroom locker room issue?
Could we, I'm not following the...
So it was proposed that some of the costs would go that were in the 137,000 or whatever it was, that would address an issue of high school style locker room, bathroom issues with gender at Station 2. However, if we were to staff an all female staff or an all male staff over there, would that be as necessary?
I don't believe so, no. You should be able to cross.
Or cross, I mean,
Yeah,
either way, I just, for future plans, as Alderman Femke pointed out, if that's going to be needed or if we can find ways around it is more of what I was asking.
I would say that we could not staff based on gender. I mean, if we put over there who's ever up to be assigned to that station, regardless of gender. But when you keep the staffing level at Station number 2 at 3, I don't see that 1 bathroom up there being an issue.
I guess I just have one more question. If we continue the process, I would like to see this summary. If we continue the process, what kind of costs, and are we more committed by continuing the process right now? Are there going to be extra costs incurred by continuing on with this right now?
I think engineering and design costs there would be.
I would like to see the summary. So I guess my question is I realize it'll be July before we do anything if we don't act on this tonight, but It would have been very nice to have a summary and to see where the expenses are, where the costs have gone up, and why.
I don't know, Laura, do you have a rough idea of?
A rough idea of square footage or cost, or which
The
one are you
drivers-
asking for, Chief?
Of the cost and what the main drivers are, and a ballpark figure on what those would be?
I can't speak that intelligently to the cost part, but I can look at the square footage cost. So basically, when we changed that bay addition from being a single apparatus bay that the wall just moved out, and it was in there to a three fire bay, we went up about 600 square feet in space. So that was one of the main drivers. And then because of that, the living quarters kind of got shifted and kind of got reconfigured. And in doing that part, that went up about 500 square feet. So all in all, between the concept design and the schematic design phase, we went up of 1,290 square feet in total. So that was that part. For the cost, like I said, I think Myron would probably speak better to that in terms of how much things have gone up. But there are a couple other things that we could consider too. So when we looked at that Station 2 work with those toilet facilities on the upper level, we could consider still designing that space as if it was going to be constructed, and then we could put it for an alternate bid. So on bid day, you would have an exact number of what it would cost to construct that. So if things do shift in terms of cost coming down, and you decided that bids came back favorable, you could decide to move forward with that design work or with that construction work, or you'd have the plans for future use. When we design fire stations, if we did have a crew of 3 people, we probably would only have 1 or maybe 2 at most toilet shower spaces on that level for them. 3 to 1 is our general ratio for toilet showers to sleeping beds. We have enough toilets there for code, so all of that side of things, it's fine. It's just that when we had 5 or 6 people there, that's when it was really tight for that 1 toilet shower there. So just wanted to keep that in mind. But like I said, we went up about just under 1,300 square feet in total space. So that was the biggest thing.
Do you have an estimate on the cost per square foot?
On the cost per square foot that it went up?
No, just in general, general cost
Oh.
per square foot for the entire project.
Yeah, let me look, see if we have it in here. One moment, please. So let's see here. So for the cost of work itself, you're looking at about $245 a square foot. And if we looked at total project per square foot, so I'm going to write that down, 245. Okay, so the 2 numbers I'm doing with quick math here is that the cost of the construction work is $245 a square foot, and then when you look at the overall total project cost of per square foot, it would be closer to $326.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I guess another thing to consider too is, when we were going through the design phase, we talked about, do you want to see a major difference between the areas that were updated and were not updated? So there are some spaces that we originally had not chosen to have, interior finishes on. Those spaces could be taken back out, just knowing that there would be a really marked difference between what was new and what was renovated versus what wasn't new or renovated. Specifically, the 2 offices, the offices right up front, the front vestibule, the front little area right where your people walk into, or, the visitor's entrance, I guess you'd say, the front entry of the facility. So that, there's a couple spaces like that hadn't originally intended to have finishes. Those aren't huge numbers, but it's something.
Mayor,
This is probably for Tim, but get a little ahead of myself. But on the next item, we're talking about bonding. So if the council agrees to bond the 2.7 million, and since we're only at 30% construction cost, and at the next construction cost, it goes up another $250,000, would we have to take that from reserves? Because we've already bonded?
Right, you know, we'll be setting the financing for this project in the June resolution. However, you know, obviously there's built in within the project budget, the 2.7 is $200,000 of contingency for some of those items. Also, there are some reserves that were specifically set aside for this project, mainly earmarked a couple of years ago, $500,000. However, I'm not applying those reserves to basically the buy down, the financing of this project, just because right now, interest rate environment for general obligation debt is very, very favorable. So I'm kind of holding off and reserving that money to apply towards the refinancing of the taxable anticipation notes for the aquatic center that'll come due in June of next year. Just kind of hedging that, you know, if there's any trend for interest rates, it probably might be up. And so right now, since we have very, very favorable interest rates, I'd rather hold off and apply that $500,000 to next year's refinancing of those notes. Over the 2-year period, we'll be buying down, using that $500,000 to buy down our debt.
But if there was a project cost increase, it would have to come from
Right. And
some other source.
we would probably use the contingency in the project budget or some of that $500,000 that's earmarked.
Okay, sounds good.
And I am really confident on this 2.7 million, because there is costs in the base bid that I think are going to come down. We have a sprinkler system, an $80,000 sprinkler system that's going to do the whole station. We're looking at codes, can we put up a firewall in the attic and separate that attic where we don't have to put a dry sprinkler system throughout the station and just sprinkle the dorms, but we don't know that answer yet, so that is still within the base bid. And there's an unsuitable soil, and I think walls are going to pour, and there's a $25,000 allowance on there that we don't believe we're going to have to use, but it's in there just in case when they come and do their borings and soil samples. If we need that, it's there, but if not, so I'm confident of this. The timeline here, we're getting late, and if we put it off a month right now, we're looking at, you know, we're at 30%, we go into the development design phase next, and there'll be another cost estimate done at 60%, but it's really tight. We're looking at this wrapping up the design phase hopefully by mid-August or late July to early August, where we can put out bids for 30 days and hopefully get those in, award them, and begin ground breaking by mid-September to early October. I mean, it's a tight window to do this, and I think if we stay online, we're going to be better off than waiting.
I don't believe we had a second, did we, to Jake's motion? I guess where none of us, I don't think like to see the increase that amount anyway, and then have to subtract from the other station that we were, you know, told that it was needed at that point in time. And listening, I guess, with what times constraints would be, or can be, it may be advantageous, I guess, for the committee to move this forward to the council to see what the, one way or the other, what the council may want to do. With that, I guess I'll make a second to Jake's motion to do that and to move that forward to see what the full council would want, and I guess if there's further questions or updates, whatever, that have the council be made aware of, I guess, before council time of what, again, I guess what the numbers all are and what we're looking at, so.
Tom, I make a comment?
Dean?
I'm just wondering, is 30 years a goal that we shoot for? That doesn't seem like a long time to me. Is that a technology thing, or is that a integrity of the building?
I don't know. Hopefully it goes 40 years, they've talked,
I'm
or
just saying
longer.
that it
and-
would seem the building, at this
it-
expense, would
Right, in
have a
my,
goal of at least 50 years.
I would hope so. I won't be here, but we look at 1982 when that station was built. In my memo, I said we had 27 firefighters and 2 administrative, so we had a staff of 29. We did about 900 calls a year. We're doing almost 4,000 calls a year. We're busier than ever. We've added staffing, we've added equipment. Our equipment's gotten bigger. We used to run the ambulance in 1982 was basically a station wagon. You'd throw somebody in back and go. And our skills and our knowledge, our training has increased. Our ambulances have gotten bigger to meet that too. I also want to point out, and I didn't want to play this card, but along with the EMS, the fire department generates almost $1 million in revenue a year. And that goes into the general fund to help other departments. So I think that should be taken into account also.
Jay, I'll just before you go there, the 30 years or 40 years, I would hope it'd be longer than that. The aquatic center that we just did was 50 years, I think was what the number mentioned on that. So would hope out of the fire station like this, we could approach that number anyway. So, Jay?
I don't know if Scott can answer this, or if the lady from 9 Bugles or 5 Bugles is still on, but can we have that summary before the council meeting on the 15th?
Yeah, we'll definitely have you the executive summary by the 15th. I'm hoping to get it to you by the end of the week. And in terms of where the 30-year building comes from, that's just kind of a number that people say. So generally speaking, this is going to be a block construction with brick on the exterior. So in terms of that side of things, it should last. The things that will have to happen is, every 25 years, just like with your house, you're going to need general maintenance. You'll need new or updated HVAC equipment, probably around 25-year mark, new roof, tuck pointing for any bricks that we might have. So it's just, you say 30 years, you say 50 years, whatever you'd like to say. The bigger issue is going to be how is it going to be staffed, and is it still serving the community the way it needs to serve the community? We don't know how Wisconsin Rapids, or at least I don't know how Wisconsin Rapids is going to grow and develop in the next 30 years, and that would be the only thing that would, dictate where, if it's still serving your community the way it needs. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Anything else? Anybody? With that, committee, call for the vote then. All those in favor respond by aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. And that'll be brought up at the next council meeting, so in 2 weeks, which would be the, 15th? 15th, so, okay.
Next item is bonding, I think.
Thank you,
Tom?
Chief.
Not to interrupt, but Kyle sent me a message during this last item and just wanted to make sure the committee understood that the Stratford sign, it was a typo, so the 75,000 did include the installation. Just wanted to make sure that you had the correct information.
Thank you.
Yep.
Let's see, item 11. Review 2021 debt issue amount and timeline. Tim, I know you've been waiting.
It's my turn. I emailed you earlier today, but also I gave you a hard copy of the 2021 proposed GO debt issue. It lists the projects there. Basically, the first 2 are normal on an annual basis. we issue GO notes to finance a portion of our annual construction projects, that being street construction and storm sewer construction. And you can see the earmarked projects identified there. That comes to approximately $1,796,000. The second part of the debt issue is what we just got done talking about, was the Fire Station 1 renovation for $2.7 million and then we have the debt issuance expense. And basically what that is that your underwriter's discounts, the entity that buys the bonds and sells them on the secondary market. Also, we have the financial advisor who actually goes through and does the bidding and issues the official statement and does all the, and then we have the bond attorneys, and we also have Moody's that gives us our credit rating that attaches to the bonds. And then basically what they do is they bid that out to the underwriters. So the 2021 estimated general obligation debt issue would be $4.6 million. The timeline for this is that we would do authorizing resolutions at the June 15th council meeting for that amount. However, now with the discussion with the fire station and approving kind of the $2.7 million, I'm not sure how to exactly handle that. If we want to, if I should have the bond attorneys go ahead and draft those resolutions, or if there's going to be kind of some discussion on the fire station renovation and what that amount is. So I'm not sure exactly how to proceed. Because I would hate to go through and do all those resolutions and then all of a sudden have an issue with the fire station renovation. It's nothing against, it's just the timing of way these two, that we were waiting for the estimates on the fire station to come through, but then also we have to, at some point go to, we have other projects that we have to finance with the debt issue. Also in that, if we proceed with the June financing, also in there, we're going to have what's called a parameters resolution. And what that does is that you have the authorizing resolution. You're basically giving, permission to go through and issue the bonds. But then we also have a parameters resolution that basically dictates that if the bids come back within the parameters that are set forth in that resolution, that the mayor and myself can then approve the bids and the sale of the notes and/or bonds on behalf of the city. Sometimes we've had it where we actually come back to a future council meeting and have the council approve those bids. However, having the parameters resolution is the nice thing about that is it gives us flexibility of when to go to the market, because a lot of times the bids come back, it's all about supply and demand of what other municipalities, whatever tax exempt debt is hitting the market that week or that day. Because it's, Ehlers, our financial advisors, will look at it and say, hey, it's more favorable to, go this week or that week. And that's why we've kind of done the parameters resolution. We've done them in the past, but that's the plan that we have for this debt issue, is to do a parameters resolution. If you don't feel comfortable with that and want to come back to it would be the July council to actually do the sale on that day, we can do that also.
Any thoughts by anybody? Other than what Tim just said. Mayor?
Well, I guess just want to point out that in the big scheme of the pictures, we're adding another, or we're using up another 4% of our capacity. So every percent closer we get to 65 is concerning. But this is the hand we've been dealt with. But it's not going down. It's going up.
If I may.
Yes, you may.
Thank you. So I guess I don't really see the point in delaying the approval for going out for the debt, I think that and correct me if I'm wrong or explain why I might be wrong on this, having the fire station approval and the debt approval on the same council agenda, I see what you're saying about having them prepare it and then it not going through. But if it doesn't go through, doesn't this kill the project anyway for the most part, at least for a substantial amount of time? I think there's plenty of time between now and the council meeting that if anybody has anything they want to get out and prepare for the council meeting, I don't think their mind's going to change June 15th to the July meeting when they already have 2 weeks now to do it. But that's my thoughts. I think Tim, do you want to speak to that? Would we be doing ill will or not? Would you? What does that?
No, I mean, it's just more of the sizing of the debt issue at this point. I mean, I think, when we look at the street construction, storm sewer construction projects, we approved that in the 2021 budget back in November. It's just now that we have the, fire station renovation and, with some of the discussions and, concerns about the increase in the project, I'm just trying to get a handle on, how do I size this bond? I was just trying to get the committee's thoughts. At this point, I'm like, I'm presenting is that we're proceeding with what I presented here is the $4.6 million GO debt, which would include the $2.7 million for the fire station renovation. I was just kind of putting that out there for the committees or other alderpersons' thoughts on, as far as that. But, I have to let our financial advisors and our bond attorneys know exactly, what the resolution amounts will be. And, we're working through some of the terms of the bonds too, is whether, we issue not, if it's a 10, 15, or 20-year payback on those.
Would it be possible to prepare for both? Just so we don't lose that, if we do go forward with it, we don't lose that month?
Yeah, I mean, we can. It's just that, then we'd have to basically vote on both of them because, you have to notice it and things like that. And depending on if it's notes or bonds, it's a little bit different from a legality standpoint of what you have to publish in the paper and things like that, so.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be hard for us to vote on both. I just hate to lose that month, as Chief spoke to earlier, and what the importance behind that is. And I don't think we do that this often, where we would be making that a regular practice, but being that this is a bigger one. That would be my thoughts on it, is that we just prepare for both so we don't lose that month.
Jake?
So, Tim, if this gets approved tonight as you presented it, it still has to go to council and be approved there, so it could change after that, correct? Or is that going to put you in a bad spot?
Well, no, it's just that, but you're going to have a specific resolution as to the bond amount that'll be up for consideration.
But that still has to be approved by council, correct?
Absolutely. No, this is just, I'm just, basically what the purpose of tonight's agenda item is, just reaffirming, okay, this is what we're going to go to the debt market for. This is what we're going to bring back to the June 15th council meeting in form of a resolution authorizing the issuance of GO debt and the amount. So basically, once I contact Ehlers and say, okay, this is the amount, then they'll, the bond attorneys will contact the bond attorneys and they'll draw up the authorizing resolutions.
Thank you.
Jake, do you have something?
Yeah, and there can still be questions on this. I'd just like to make a motion, get out in front of this, to prepare for the 2021 debt issue amount for both with the fire station proposal and without. Does that work?
You need that, in that motion, do you need your parameters included in that?
No, I was just kind of what we're going to bring forth as part of the resolution is the parameters resolution. Attorney Schill, could we on the council meeting kind of hold out the fire station renovation and put it at the top of the agenda before the resolution? So
sure. Absolutely.
And I think that would maybe how we would proceed too with the council agenda is if we're going to have the varying resolutions, that we take item number 8, or no, excuse me, and, or no, actually 10, sorry, and hold that out, take that for separate action at the beginning of the meeting before we get to the resolution, so then at least when we get to the resolutions, we've made a decision on whether to proceed with the fire station renovation.
I'll second his motion.
Okay. Committee, and that's with, then what Tim said there. Sue, correct?
Right.
Okay,
I mean,
okay. Committee will vote, all those in favor respond by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Number 12, review and consider for approval, 13, audit of the bills. 12?
Well,
Oh, okay, I'm jumping past. Review and consider for approval, 2021 budget amendment.
okay, this is a budget amendment that was included in the packet, and basically the vast majority of this is on an annual basis, that we have certain replacement accounts, unfinished projects, and those types of things explained in the resolution that, are not contained in the 2021 budget when we adopt it. Basically, what this resolution is doing is carrying those funds designated for a specific purpose over unspent funds from 2020 and appropriating them in 2021. For all the items, I did attach an explanation to exactly what the nature of the item is, the reason why it's being carried forward. Some of our grant funds and replacement accounts. One correction I would like to make on it, on the room tax fund for the money's being carried for economic development of $64,283. I would like to eliminate that because actually I included that amount in the 2021 budget, so I don't want to double up on it. So that would be the only change that I would make to the proposed amendment, but I would entertain any questions about any specific carryover. Do you have any?
Questions by anybody? Hearing none, I'll move to approve the 2021 budget amendment number 2. I have a motion and a second to approve the budget amendment number 2. Committee, any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor respond by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. 13, audit of the bills. Tim?
You received the list. If there's any questions about any specific check, I'd be happy to answer.
I'll make a motion to approve the audit.
Second. Committee will vote. All those in favor respond by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. 14, in open session. The committee will vote to go into closed session under section 19.85, parent 1, parent G of the Wisconsin statutes, which reads, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body was rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is likely to become involved, and under section 19.85, parent 1, parent E, Wisconsin statutes, which reads, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. A, in closed session, the committee will confer with legal counsel regarding litigation the city is involved in, and will also discuss negotiations regarding a proposed settlement of litigation. B, the committee may adjourn in closed session or may return to open session. If the committee returns to open session, the committee may take action on approving a proposed settlement agreement to settle the litigation. Committee, what are your wishes? We have a motion and a second to go in closed session. Committee, do we have to have a roll call on that, Sue? Roll call, Jake? Jake?
Aye.
Tom? Aye. With that, we're going into closed session.